You're not supposed to admit how much you enjoy it. Someone tells you something about a person, you both know what they did, what they said, who they're involved with, how they behaved when no one important was watching. And something in you leans in. Not because you plan to, not because you decided to be interested. You just are, immediately and completely, before you've had a chance to evaluate whether you should be. And then almost as automatically, you have something to add. We call this gossip, and we treat it as a guilty pleasure at best, a character flaw at worst, something to be embarrassed about, to do quietly, to deny when asked directly. Anyway, too. But the real reason gossip feels so compelling is far stranger than boredom or nosiness. Gossip isn't a flaw in human social behavior. It's one of the most sophisticated information systems your ancestors ever developed. And your brain is still running it constantly, automatically, and for reasons that once had everything to do with staying alive. To understand why, you have to understand the problem that gossip solved. Go back to the band. 20 to 50 people. Sharing resources, sharing space, making collective decisions about where to go, what to hunt, when to move. And crucially, completely dependent on each other for survival. In that world, the single most important thing you could know wasn't where the food was. It was who the people around you actually were. Who could be trusted to share when resources were scarce? Who had a history of taking more than their share? Who was reliable in a crisis and who fell apart? Who was forming alliances with whom? Who had violated the group's norms recently, and how did the group respond? This wasn't idle curiosity. It was survival critical intelligence. Robin Dunbar, an evolutionary anthropologist at Oxford, has spent decades studying the relationship between social complexity and brain size across primates. His research led to what became known as Dunbar's number, the finding that humans appear to have a cognitive limit of around 150 stable social relationships. Beyond that, the social network becomes too complex to track reliably. But within that 150, Dunbar found something striking. The primary function of human language, the reason we developed the capacity for complex speech in the first place, may not have been to coordinate hunts or describe the environment. It may have been to exchange social information, to gossip. In his research, Dunbar found that approximately 65% of human conversation across cultures consists of social topics. Who is doing what? Who is involved with whom? Who behaved well or badly? What happened between this person and that person? Not plans, not facts about the world. Social information about other people. This isn't a modern corruption of language. It appears to be what language evolved to do. Here's where it gets stranger. Gossip doesn't just transmit information, it enforces norms. In a small band with no formal laws, no courts, no police, the primary mechanism for keeping people's behavior in line was reputation. If you cheated, stole, violated the group's expectations, people talked. Word spread. Your reputation took a hit. And in a world where your survival depended on coalition partners, on people being willing to share with you, defend you, include you, a damaged reputation wasn't just socially uncomfortable. It was dangerous. This is what researchers call indirect reciprocity. I'll cooperate with you not just because you've been good to me directly, but because I've heard from others that you're someone worth cooperating with. And I'll avoid you, or warn others about you, if your reputation suggests you're not. Gossip is the mechanism that makes indirect reciprocity work. Without the flow of social information, who did what, who can be trusted, who violated the norms, the entire system of cooperation that allowed human groups to function collapses. Your ancestors didn't gossip despite being serious, practical people focused on survival. They gossiped because they were serious, practical people focused on survival. Now think about what this means for the brain. If social information was this critical, if knowing who could be trusted was as important as knowing where the food was, then the brain that survived wasn't a brain that was indifferent to social information. It was a brain that found social information deeply compelling. That prioritized it automatically. That felt a pull toward it, the way it felt a pull toward food or water. And that's exactly what the research shows. Studies on attention and information processing consistently find that social information, specifically information about what other people are doing, feeling, and saying about each other, captures attention faster and holds it longer than almost any other category of information. Your brain doesn't treat gossip as noise. It treats it as signal. This is also why gossip about high-status individuals is particularly compelling. In the ancestral environment, knowing what the most influential people in your group were doing, their alliances, their conflicts, their vulnerabilities, their norm violations, was especially valuable. High-status individuals had outsized effects on everyone else's lives. Tracking them carefully was rational. Which is why celebrity culture isn't a shallow modern invention. It's the same ancient system pointed at a different set of high-status individuals. Your brain can't fully distinguish between the local band leader whose decisions affected your survival and the public figure whose personal life you're reading about on a screen. Both register as high status. Both trigger the same tracking system. There's something else worth understanding here. Gossip isn't just about other people. It's about identity and belonging. When two people gossip together, when they share social information, evaluate someone's behavior, agree on what was right or wrong about what happened, they're doing something beyond exchanging data. They're aligning, signaling that they share values, that they see the world the same way, that they belong to the same moral community. This is why gossip feels bonding, why it creates a specific kind of closeness that factual conversation often doesn't. Sharing sensitive social information with someone is an act of trust. Receiving it is an act of inclusion. The exchange signals, we're on the same side. We see things the same way. We're in this together. In the ancestral environment, that alignment was enormously valuable. Coalition partners who shared values and judgments were the most reliable. Gossip was one of the primary ways those coalitions were built and maintained. Now think about what modern life does with this system. Social media is, at its core, a gossip machine operating at industrial scale. Every post, every comment, every share of something someone did or said, it's the same ancient information system running in a new environment. Your brain processes it with the same circuitry it used around the fire, evaluating the same categories of information. Who did what? Who violated the norms? Who gained or lost status? Who aligned with whom? The difference is scale. Your ancestral gossip network had 50 people. The modern version has no ceiling. And the information quality is different too. In the band, gossip was mostly accurate. You knew the people being discussed. You had direct context. You could calibrate what you heard against what you knew. Online, the same ancient hunger for social information gets fed with content that's often decontextualized, selected for emotional reaction, and optimized to trigger the tracking system rather than actually inform it. But the hunger is real. The system is real. And it's been running in every human group ever documented, from the earliest foraging bands to every office, neighborhood, family, and social circle that exists today. So the next time you find yourself leaning in when someone has something to tell you about a person you both know before you've decided to be interested, before you've chosen to engage, know what's actually happening. You're not being shallow. You're not failing some standard of enlightened indifference to other people's business. You're running one of the oldest and most essential information systems your species ever developed. The one that once told you who to trust, who to avoid, and who was safe to build your survival around. It still runs the same way. In a world with far more people to track and far less of it actually mattering to your survival,